Alright, today we're going to be talking about tactics for an effective salesman. My name is Josh Harris, and I'm going to go over some tips, tricks, and tactics that you can use to be an effective salesman so that you can sell. Everybody needs to sell something at some point in time, whether it be an idea, a product, or anything like that. So first we're going to start with our internal sales. Internal sales have to do with you as a salesman and what you can do to further the sale. Now, it's a two-way street, so you have to work at yourself and the customer has to meet you halfway. So it's something that you got to work together with. First off, appearance is number one. It's the first thing they see, it's the first impression. So having good appearance is number one, top. Alright? Be well groomed, have good hygiene. Bad breath is awful. It'll kill a sale real quick. And dress for the task at hand. Don't wear a suit to sell cupcakes. Alright, attitude. Leave your problems at the door. When you come in to sell something, leave everything behind and just focus on the task at hand, selling. Being happy on the workplace will generate happiness around you. It's contagious. Generating business. Now there's multiple ways you can do this. These are some common ones. Canvassing is going door to door or car to car, handing out flyers or something along those lines. Cold calling is more of just calling up random people that might be interested in your product. Alright, generating business continued. Okay, so we have walk-ins. These are going to be like probably 60% of your sales. These people are coming to wherever you are to buy that specific product. It's not a hard sell at all. Referrals come from people like this or some people that you help out greatly. Confidence. Alright, so people can sense confidence. If you're confident, they're going to feel more trusting and more willing to talk to you about things. You don't start selling until you hear the first no, and get ready for a lot of those because you're going to hear it a lot. One of the keys to hearing no a lot is learning to overcome those objections. So while you're trying to overcome those objections, just know that you're going to get a no. And that's the worst that can happen. Somebody's going to say no. So don't let it ruin your day and just be positive. You're eventually going to get that yes. Alright, so next we got being personable. You know, just being a generally charismatic person. Being personable is great. Being willing to initiate conversations. You can't be shy and be a salesman. So step outside of the box, get into your little bit of an uncomfortable zone, and get comfortable with that. And then push it a little further each time. Transitions. Now, this is something that's key if you're working in a place that sells multiple things, like Best Buy. So you have somebody that comes in to get a game, but you're trying to sell TVs. So you have to find a way to transition their thoughts from game to TV in a conversation that flows smoothly. Integrity. This is doing what you're supposed to do even when it doesn't benefit you the most. So, like if, sorry about that. If somebody comes in and they're wanting to buy a car, you're not going to sell them all the bells and whistles if they don't need it, just to try and line your pocket. So have integrity. Make sure you're doing what's right for the customer. Know your product so that whenever you're explaining this, they're comfortable and they understand that you do know what you're talking about. And also be behind your product. Be proud of your product, because if you're not, then it's really hard to sell it. You can't tell somebody I don't like it and then try and sell it to somebody. So just make sure you know what you're talking about. Alright, now we're going to talk about external sales. This covers what the customer wants or needs. It's something that you don't necessarily have control over, but you can influence. It's if somebody comes in and they're like, I'm going to get this car that's a four-door and I want a sunroof. Well, sometimes you can talk them into the leather seating. Warranties and financing. Now this is great to know, and it's not something that you're required to know, but it's a great knowledge to have, because if somebody comes in and goes, I can't really afford that right now, you can go, well, we offer financing options, and you can show them what it is exactly and explain it to them. Warranties. Having a good warranty on a product compared to somewhere else will make somebody buy something from you instead. Determining the needs of a customer. Now this is something you just kind of have to learn. You figure out how to read the customer, and you can even ask them straight up if you want. You know, what are you here to get? What do you need? You know, this and that. And they'll generally tell you exactly what they're there for. This will give you great tools to move forward in the conversation. Alright, so price versus quality. Now, generally people know if they're coming in, they're looking for a bargain or they're looking for some really good stuff. So you can generally decipher the two quickly and right in the beginning of the conversation so that you don't spend a whole lot of time talking about something you don't need to. Next, we're going to talk about building relationships. Now, this is key to a long-lasting sales job. I mean, you need to build relationships because if you build good relationships with people, they're more likely to refer you to somebody else. And this will keep your sales building. You know, if you do this for 6 months, 6 months down the road, all of a sudden you're not having to work so hard because so many people are just coming to see you. Now, asking for or qualifying the sale. Now, this is trying to get a solid yes or no. This is getting close to closing the sale. One of the good questions that you can ask them is, how would you like to pay for this today? This will tell you if they're ready or not. They'll either go, I don't know, or they're going to go debit card or check or something along those lines. That's a good tactic right there. And then closing the sale is something that you got to get good at. I know a lot of people that can sell their butt off, but they can't close. Being able to bring the whole thing into an end and get it to where it comes out positive is good. And that's something you really got to work on. You can look up different tips and tricks and different lines that you can use that help move that along. Follow up after the sale. Now this will show that you really were interested in the person and they just weren't another check mark on your sales list, you know. So give them a call, ask them how they're doing, ask them if they like their product, and then ask them if they'd like to refer you to anybody. Generally, if you do a good job, you'll get the referrals.